Hello, this is Mrs. Mackey, and today we are going to solve multi-step equations that include fractions and decimals. Here is the good thing for you. If you don't like fractions and decimals, you never have to solve another equation only, equation with another fraction or decimal, because I'm going to show you how to get rid of it. You ready to learn? Here we go. Few review words. Combining like terms. Remember, like terms have the same variable, same exponent. Distributive property is when we get rid of our parentheses. And simplified is when there's no parentheses and no like terms together. I'm going to warn you, today will be a little bit of a longer video because these problems are more complicated, but we can do it. All right, here are the basic steps when we're solving equations. And this is going to look a little bit different, but we're going to get rid of our fraction. Then we'll change any subtraction problems to adding the opposite. Then we start simplifying as we learned in our multi-step equations. So I'm actually going to take these out of the way a little bit. You can kind of see what they are to help us remember. And I'm going to put example A up out of the way because we need space. If I don't write neatly, then you won't be able to read it. So let me get this a little bit bigger so I can write. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for an LCM. Remember, LCM is the least common multiple, or the first number that, in this case, my denominators go into. So I'm looking at my problem, and my denominators are a 4 and a 3. Now, you might remember back in the olden days in elementary school, when you had fractions, you had to make common denominators. And you used the LCM to help you. Well, we're just going to, instead of making it a common denominator, we're going to multiply it by the common denominator and get rid of those fractions. So, I have to ask myself, what is the first number that 4 and 3 both divide into? Are you thinking? I got 12. Now, it's okay if you use another number as long as they both go into it. You just make your numbers a little bit bigger than you have to. I'm going to make this a distributive property problem. When I make this a distributive property problem, notice the whole equation's in parentheses because I have to multiply each term or each part of my equation by that 12. Otherwise, my equation gets out of balance. So, I'm going to use colors here to help us see. 12 times 3x over 4. 12 times 3x over 4. Now, I can reduce now or reduce later. I'm going to do this in 2 steps. If you know how to reduce beforehand, you can, and we'll do it on another problem. So 12 times 3 is 36x divided by 4. Well, 36x divided by 4 is just 9x. So that term we've gotten taken care of. No more fraction. Okay, working on the next one. I wanted to change color. Let's get it changed. It's not always working with me today. One reason I was using Educreations. There we go. Okay. So I can do my problem like this now, or I can change it later. It's completely up to you. So I've got 12 times negative 1x over 3. Well, 12 times negative 1x is negative 12x over 3. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. So that plus negative 4x. Another term with no fraction. Okay, so let's come over to the last one now. I have 12 times 10. 12 times 10, I can come straight down here, because 12 times 10 is 120. Now, this is just really your basic equation. We call this a multi-step equation because I need to combine my like terms. So I have a 9x and a negative 4x. Different signs means I need to subtract. So 9 minus 4 is 5. Keep the sign of the larger number. 9 is larger. Haha, you guys thought you were going to trick me. There we go. Equals 120. And now I divide by 5. And so that's gone. And that goes 24 times. Now I could go back and check my work, but to be honest, it's going to make our video even longer, so we're not going to. Yes, get all that problem in. Do I have to back it up? Okay, just in case you missed it, pause it, get it. Here we go. Okay, so another problem. This one we're doing together. So I don't want you just to pause the video and go, because if you make a mistake, you're going to have to fix a lot of stuff. So we'll do it a little bit step by step, and then I'll send you to finish it. Okay, a little bit bigger. There we go. So we have 2b over 5, 3b over 4 equals 3. As I'm looking at this, I see a 5 and a 4. I want you to find what number you would multiply these by to get rid of a 5 and a 4, the LCM. What number do 5 and 4 go into? Pause it. Okay, did you write 20? If you wrote 20, you did it perfectly. So I now am going to multiply this entire equation by 20. Let's start with 20 times 2b. Pause well, you're going to multiply that out. Pause the video as you're multiplying, then come back and check your answers. Okay, 20 times 2b, that would be 20 times 2b, which is 40b over 5. And I'm going to write that a little neater, sorry. Okay, I really should have had the 5 underneath here. Okay, so that's 40b over 5, which gives me 8b. Now, if you're really good with your fractions, you can divide, and you would just go straight here. 5 goes into 5 once. 20 goes into, or 5 goes into 20 4 times. And you're just multiplying 2 times 4, and you come down here with the bottom at 8b. So you could skip the middle step. You might even go straight to the middle step, but I expect at least 2 steps. You can't just go all the way down and write 8b. Okay, so now we're going to multiply 20 times 3b over 4. Pause the video and come back when you have the answer. Okay, so here we go. 20 times 3b would be 20 times 3b over 4. 20 times 3b is 12, no, I'm sorry, 60b. I don't know where 12 came from. 60b over 4. And 60b over 4 becomes 15b. I have 2 numbers here that I didn't put anything between. Hopefully you didn't skip it, but if you did, remember we're adding, and it comes adding all the way down. Okay. My last part, I have 20 times 3, and 20 times 3 is 60. If you're worried about messing up your signs, you can do this, or if it's something that's not mental math. Okay. 8b plus 15b, combine those, then check your work. Okay, hopefully that's what you got. I'm going to warn you, you might already notice this, but this will be a fraction. In algebra, we prefer improper fractions. So please don't make it a mixed number. I know, your elementary school teachers always told you you had to make it. No, because when you graph this, it's actually much more difficult to graph as a mixed number. So our final answer, what are we dividing by? That's right, 23. We're going to divide by 23. There's nothing I can reduce out of here, so that's my final answer. B equals 60 over 23. Okay, next type of problem. We were going to do this practice, but the video is taking a while, so we're not going to do this problem. So sorry. I know you're really bummed. Okay, when you multiply by decimals, it's a little bit simpler. You know when you divide decimals, how you have to make it so you're not dividing by a decimal? Well, it's kind of the same thing. You're moving the decimals, but you're going to move the decimals by the same amount on each number because of the distributive property. And there's a shortcut that I'll show you later, but right now I want to show you why this math works. So I look here, I have one place after the decimal, two places after the decimal, two places after the decimal. Well, those are hundredths places, and a hundredth, if I multiply by 100, it will move the decimal over two places. So let's move the decimal over two places. 1, 2. This actually becomes not 35, but 350 minus, move the decimal over 2. 1, 2. So that's just 2. Move the decimal two places. 1, 2. Okay, solve this equation, come back and check your answer. Is that what you got? I hope so. Okay, you can pretty much do whatever we want to an equation as long as we keep the balanced. What that means is we do the same thing to both sides of the equal sign. If you don't get rid of the fraction or decimal, you have to follow the rules for fractions and decimals. And we use the distributive property with the LCM, or the least common multiple, to get rid of fractions. For the decimals, we call it multiplying by a power of 10. For example, 10, not 20, 10, 100, 1,000, like when you're multiplying tens together. And that moves the decimal. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.